Hi, Kevin Henry with Dental Economics here today at the ADA annual session in Honolulu with my good friend Jeff Johnson from R.W. Baird. And a lot of you may remember that we shot a video last year in San Antonio where we were talking about how Wall Street was viewing the dental industry at that time. And so I thought it'd be interesting to, 1 year later, talk to Jeff and see how things have changed. So what's the view now, I guess, a year later?
Well, I think in hindsight, the dental industry was probably a little more exposed to the consumer than we realized. We saw the general consumables market over the last year or so. We've seen that market slow about 800 basis points or so. Basic equipment, chairs, stands, cabinetry, those kind of products are off probably 20-25%. The high-tech stuff's still selling, though, Kevin. We've seen good sales trends on some of the digital x-ray products, on some of the CAD/CAM products, things like that. So high-tech is kind of saving the day right now, but on the consumable side and the basic equipment side, we've definitely seen some macro pressures impact. The question really becomes what's going to happen next year in 2010. I think there's a nice pathway to a slow, steady recovery here in dental. As all of you know, with the tie between dental benefits, jobs, and dental visits, I don't think we're going to go back to a 3, 4, 5% growing market over the next 6 to 12 months, but I think there is a nice pathway to going from down 1 or 2%, as many of you are probably seeing in your offices, and as the larger distributors, Henry Schein and Patterson, are seeing in their dental consumables businesses down 1 or 2%. I think there's a nice pathway to go back to kind of flat over the next 6 months, and then maybe up 1 or 2 percentage points as some of the consumer discretionary dollars come back into the model. But I think it's probably 2011 before the unemployment rate starts coming down, and then we get a nice pickup in some patient volumes as well. So I think there is a bolus effect, kind of a backlog of care that's going to have to come through the office at some point, and so that should help. But I think really it's going to be waiting for the unemployment rate to come down and for patient visits to pick up late 2010, early 2011.
And what's the feeling on the floor as you've been walking around here in Honolulu?
I think the feeling is most of us would rather be at the beach, but we're walking the floor anyway. No, the feeling is we're through the worst of it. I think most of the sales reps, the distributors, and the manufacturers I've talked to feel like we've been through the worst of it. Optimism is growing for next year. I don't think anybody's too keyed up on what the next quarter or two may look like. But I think feeling better that long term we're going to be fine here over the next 6 to 12 months.
And
I think my phone may be going here. Sorry.
It's all right. Actually, they may be.
Is it yours? Yeah.
And last question for you, Section 179. I know you and I talked a little bit about that, and maybe the impact if there is going to be one by the end of the year. What's your feeling on that? Yeah,
well, Section 179's been around for a few years, so it's not a new tax depreciation write-off for dentists. This is the second year of the higher levels, the $250,000 annual write-off, and that will reverse this year back to $125,000 for 2010. So I think there may be a little bit of business you may see at the higher end, some office remodels, things like that this year that could still happen because of the bigger write-off you can get at $250,000 versus $125,000. But the fact of the matter is those tax incentives will be at $125,000 next year instead of $250,000. And, again, for the most dentists, that's not going to be a big relevant number anyway. The average dentist, I think, who buys equipment spends on average about $60,000 a year. So whether it's a $250,000 write-off maximum this year or $125,000 next year, I'm not sure it's really going to make the difference between buy or not buy in 2009. I think the economy is going to influence more than tax incentives will influence this year.
Okay. All right, Jeff. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.